Politics Today on independent television and radio. My name is Sonny Duke Okosun. In today's program, we'll look at the expose on what is now called the Pandora Papers, which is the publication by a consortium of international investigative journalists, which has fingered so many politicians, both serving and past leaders in Nigeria, over financial dealings, offshore financial dealings, which of course has been heavily criticized. We'll be talking along those lines. There is a war of words between the North and the South politicians, Northern and Southern politicians, on which direction the power should shift come 2023. As is always the case, while the Southern leadership of political parties are saying power must come to the South, those in the North are saying there is no such thing in the Nigerian Constitution. We'll also be talking about the current crisis rocking the Edo State chapter of the People's Democratic Party, with a gale of suspension of some of its national leaders during the week. Let me thank our panelists here. Idris Zachary is a public affairs commentator. Idris, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We also have with us in the studio Barrister Obakpolo, thank you for coming on the program.
Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning.
Dr. Lugard Sado is a lecturer from the University of Benin. Doc, thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much, and good morning, Nigerians.
Neville Obagedo will be joining us on the second half of this discussion. But let's get started right now and right away. Let's start off with the Pandora Papers, which is a big issue, because we know that in this country, particularly with the present administration, one of the cardinal platform on which it came to power was the fight against corruption. But as we speak, many people who are in this government, those who were in previous government, have been figured in these Pandora Papers. The question now is, what do we know about these Pandora Papers, and to what extent should we take it serious? Let me begin with you, Doc.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Sonny. Well, the Pandora Paper took the world by surprise, if you like, and but the interesting thing about the investigations and the results that came from the Pandora investigation is that it's not peculiar to Nigerian leaders. It's fingered virtually all parts of the world, from United States of America to South America to Europe and all the others, even to Asia and other parts of the world. So how we react will depend on what our body language is. I like what Uhuru Kenyatta said. He said he is going to react when he returns home from his trip, and that he's going to look at it, but that it is good for transparency. And I think that should be the body language of all, including those who have been fingered and those who currently are the helms of affairs. Now, let's localize this in Nigeria. Well, I think that what this investigation did is to uncan, if you like, open up the can of worms in our political space. Not just in our political space, even in the business world, because it fingered over 29 billionaires, you know, globally, who ordinarily you would think that their businesses are fair.
Are clean.
But it has fingered them in some very terrible circumstances. I don't want to be derogatory. And I think that it gives us the desire to investigate further what is happening in our world. Now, like I said, let's bring it down to Nigeria. Peter Obi is accused. Well, sorry, let me leave the names out. Yeah. Several persons have been accused. And all of them are now coming up to say it's a lie. Some of them have said, I'm not guilty. The representations are not correct.
Okay.
It is therefore left for the Nigerian government, who is known, or perhaps who have always said that its stance on anti-corruption has no sides, and that it will not take side with anyone. The body language of this government should be such that let all the necessary bodies responsible for investigating corruption cases, they should spring up immediately and begin to ask questions. Good enough, the reports are available.
Okay.
Well, I don't want to call them evidences, but these accusations,
the allegations
are available.
Yeah.
So there is something to work on, and there is something with which you can prosecute the case.
Okay.
If they do this, I think that we will be able to tell whether XYZ is guilty or not. As it stands now, they are mere allegations. So the government should wake it up. I know that some officials of this present administrations have been indicted, but whether or not this government will have the political will to respond to that is a different ball game.
Let me come to Barrister Obagbolo. Yeah, what's your major pullout from these Pandora papers, against the background that this is not the first time this kind of report will be coming out indicting either serving or past political leaders or business persons, not just in Nigeria, but globally? It's not the first time. So what is so special about this?
For me, there is nothing absolutely special about it, because we've seen series of publications, expositions, and papers like this. I cannot really place my hand on one of the magazines in France. Some years ago, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, they made this kind of publication. Even when other countries were now, they took it serious. They look at the publication, they look at the names, they look at the evidences, quote and unquote, that were in place, and they see what they can do to fight the war against, to fight or prosecute the war against corruption. Let me localize it now. Looking at Nigeria, like the present administration came with this song, corruption, 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 and that they were going to fight corruption to a standstill. They will face corruption to face, and they begin to see that they come up with something, and Nigeria will be cleansed again. But going back to history, from 1966 till date, even in the military regime, what we'll be hearing in Nigeria is corruption. We want to fight corruption. We want to fight corruption. And today, we have seen that instead of fighting corruption, corruption is fighting back. And there is absolutely nothing, particularly this administration, can do, because we've seen that the administration itself has some kind of umbrella protection for some persons. No wonder one of the former leader of the party in power now said, once you come to that party, your sins are forgiven. So we begin to see that in a situation where there are evidences to prosecute a corrupt fellow, and you are saying immediately the person comes to that party, the sins are forgiven. And that is why we see array of decamping here and there, people defecting to the ruling party for one reason or the other known to them. But we all know that the singular reason why the defection is so in mass is because there is one report or the other, or they be fingered in one corrupt case or cases or the other. So in order to protect themselves, since the party is now an umbrella of protection of persons who have taken part in corruption. So Nigeria, even if globally there is going to be a stern decision with regards to fighting and to see how these persons can be prosecuted, sir, I want to tell you just now that in Nigeria that will not work. Okay. Particularly in the season we find ourselves now, the season of elections. You see, we are talking of Anambra election. So many persons will say, if we do like this, we do like that, it may affect our party. Why don't you hold on? And these men will have their way as usual.
Okay, let's proceed there. Idris will be quiet and calm and just smiling. But I wanted to bring this on from this perspective. Doesn't this Pandora Papers showcase the global nature of corruption? Just like Dr. Lugat said a while ago. Those fingered in this report, they are based in the US, they are in Dubai, they are in Europe, they are everywhere. What do you make of this?
It is in human nature to acquire. And but what we are always kicking against is acquiring with a demonic intent. I mean, if you have $1 billion, you cannot spend it. Even if you are spending 1 million a day, you can't finish it in a lifetime. 1 million in a month, for example, you pay yourself 1 million in a month because there are 12 months in a year, and in 12 months you have just 12 million. You have just spent 12 million, and you have a billion. It means you have 988 million left. So if at this age now, let's say at age 40 or 45, you have a billion, how will you possibly finish it? So when you see people stealing for their generations and generations yet unborn, it speaks to the mind of the person. It speaks to the decay. You see, people wear clothes and they look all fresh and good, but some people are decayed inside. They are rotting to the core, and that's some of the things we need to kick against. See, Pandora Papers, so that we don't, so that our people are properly carried along. It is not angels or it is not demons that were imported from hell that did those malfeasance. It is human beings, and it is important we call their names. Doctor was being a bit careful.
No, but we just avoid calling them.
No, the names are there.
It's an allegation.
No, the names are in the paper.
I know.
And it's in public domain. It's already in public domain. For example, how do you explain that a governor who swore to protect the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria would sit on the board of a company 14 months into being in office as governor, whereas he said, once you become governor, the law says you can no longer sit on the board, you cannot head any organization, you cannot be in the board of any company outside the company unless the company deals strictly with agriculture because of the agricultural nature of Nigeria. So you cannot own a company if you are a governor, if you are a senator, House of Rep member, local government chairman, if you are occupying any executive position and position of trust, you are not supposed to sit or head any company. But a sitting governor, and the one I consider, because in a social media post some time ago, I said that if the PDP must zone his governorship ticket, they should zone it to the southeast and give it to Peter Obi, because I see him as somebody who is clean. And to be honest, not taking away from his performance as Anambra State Governor remains the zenith that Anambra has ever got into. He's someone I respect, even when I do not agree with his political leaning. But I respect him. It's like a light in a very dark room. For him to sit, you should know better. What do you need $300 million for? How will you even spend it? And you see, these monies are abroad. Imagine these monies are domesticated here in Nigeria. Imagine the kind of difference it will make. People, Stella Odua bought properties in London to the tune of about 5.9 billion, according to the Pandora Papers, so that I'm not held liable for it. According to the Pandora Papers, 5.9 billion. And in Nigeria, people don't even have houses to sleep. If only she built in Nigeria and even rented it out, then you are doing the country a favor. You bought it in London. Some of these properties in London, nobody is staying in them. Are we going to talk about Atiku Bagudu? Because must go both ways. These first two now are PDP members. Let's call it by the name. They are PDP. Peter Obi is a PDP member. Stella Odua is a PDP member. Just crossed to APC.
She was a PDP. She was a PDP member.
Yes. But when those mafians
she's not an APC member.
She was a PDP member. But in the APC, we have Atiku Bagudu, who, according to court papers, and I'm not alleging, in 2003, agreed with the Nigerian government to return $300 million and keep the rest.
Plea bargaining.
Sonny Duke, if you go to Uselu market and steal 15 naira tomatoes,
You'll be lynched.
You will be lynched. You may not survive it. But somebody stole billions of dollars of public money, helped launder billions of dollars that belongs to Nigeria, laundered it for the then dictator Sani Abacha, arrested, prosecuted, locked up in the US for 6 months, came to Nigeria, agreed with the Nigerian government, paid 300 million, the then Nigerian government, because now we are always blaming Buhari. Obasanjo was president then, agreed with the government, returned 300 million and kept the rest. And guess what? He is more spectacular about the way he does this thing. His lawyers are the same lawyers that represents the Queen of England. And then the lawyers wanted to check. And he told the lawyers that he has already agreed with his country that he can keep this portion. So they should manage this portion for him. Where is that obtainable anywhere in the world?
In Nigeria. You're asking the question.
And this man sits in office today as the governor of Kebbi State. And bandits are running wild in his domain. Look, this thing is not a north-south dichotomy. What the politicians do is that they set us up against ourselves and we begin to discuss who is north and who is south. It will no longer be who is north and who is south when the hens come so to root. It will be who is left, because we'll be all gone and nobody will be left. When I was reading about Peter Obi this morning, you see some people from the east, and I must mention this, we are saying, oh, this is a hatchet job. The same hatchet job, hatchet job that indicted the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin, the president of Kenya,
and he mentioned Uhuru Kenyatta
of Kenya. The same the same papers that indicted Roberto Mancini, former coach of Manchester City, or Angel Di Maria, the Argentine football player. You are not saying they are doing hatchet job. Who is Peter Obi compared to these people? So when your brother is a thief, you must look at him in the face and say, bro, you stole. And then we can begin from there to reconcile. But when you want to defend your brother, even when obviously he has stolen, and then once it's a Fulani name, the person is a thief. But once it's from this side, it's not a thief. Same in the north. But we are more fond of it here in the south. Once it is our brother, we say, no, our brother cannot steal. And they are stealing us blind. Look at what happened in NDDC. 13,000 projects, 6 trillion missing, nobody accounted for it. And we are still breathing. How we breathe in Nigeria is a miracle. If hair was for sale, people would have looted it by now.
All right, thank you. If you just joined us, it's State Politics today on independent television and radio. Let's just scale up our conversation because we're pressed for time. I mean, you know, the issues are so much that just taking one at a time, you end up spending all the time on just that issue in an overwhelming manner, for that matter.
Sure.
So that's the saddest part of the whole. But just look at it from the fact that there seems to be a huge gulf between the north and the south as it relates to 2023. Huge gulf is widening by the day. The south, they say, look, there's this unwritten constitution, a gentleman agreement. Where that agreement is, I don't know. But I've heard people say, look, we shouldn't be emphasizing this dichotomy. It shouldn't be where does this person come from? Who has the capacity to take Nigeria to Eldorado, as they say? You said you had a huge respect for former Governor Peter Obi.
I can sit under his presidency even as an opposition.
Well, has that changed now? Has that changed
significantly?
Okay, let's get your take on this semi-dichotomy. 2023 in focus, with the South saying, look, it must come this way. The North saying, look, there is no part of the Constitution where that is written. Let me get your take.
Exactly the problems that we have been dealing with as a nation. And that is why some of us have been advocating for the need for us to have a constitutional conference for restructuring Nigeria.
What about the ones we had in the past?
It leads us back. It was never implemented. It was never implemented. There is need for restructuring Nigeria. Now, the question you will ask yourself, I dare to say, is President Muhammadu Buhari the best of the northern elements? Was Olusegun Obasanjo the best of the southern elements? Was Goodluck Jonathan the best of the south-south element? The answers are definitely no. But the truth is that that is the politics that we play in Nigeria. It is the politics that the British introduced into Nigeria years ago, the politics of divide and rule. What is taking place currently in Nigeria to the layman and ordinary man in Nigeria will be a dichotomy between the south and the north. But among the politicians, there is no dichotomy at all. It is a game plan. A game plan to trouble the waters and distract us away from political manipulation and oppression, distract us from the banditry and the terrorism in Nigeria. Nobody's talking about people being killed in Zamfara anymore, people being killed in Kebbi, people being killed in Katsina and all the others. Not to talk of Kaduna, it's a no-go area. In fact, it's like Afghanistan. Nobody's talking about that anymore. We are now talking about, should power shift to the north or should it shift to the south? These issues shouldn't come up ordinary in a society that is arranged and properly organized. But what you find out is that our politicians deliberately ignore these salient aspects of our lives and of course allow us to fight and kill ourselves while they go back and share the loot. He said something very important just now, and I like to agree with him perfectly, that a time will come, it will be who is left, not who is north, nor who is south. That won't be the point at all. We know this. We know our politicians, after every fight, they will go and eat and recline. I saw a video where the former governor of Akwa Ibom State and the incumbent governor of Rivers State were exchanging words in the daytime. And at night, they were busy drinking together and eating. They were enjoying themselves. That is what plays out in Nigeria. Needless to say that some of these northern elements and southern elements who are currently heating up the polity already know where this thing is going to. They have decided if it is a northern man, they already know. You could tell from the body of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar the last time the PDP did their zoning, and he told them that the problem to the solution to the problem of leadership in PDP is not in zoning. Apparently, in his opinion, power should come back to the north because he is in fact, he's very much interested, and he sees himself as the one who can wrestle power from those who are in the other side of the divide. Now, these are the gimmicks that take place in our political situation, and I think that the average Nigerian should come to this understanding that there are no PDPs, there are no APCs. You only have power elites who switch camp when it suits them, who decide who they want to give the power to in their interest. To protect. Look, these things we are talking about that the consortium of journalists just brought out is not unknown to our leaders. It's not I dare to say that it is not unknown to our leaders, whether leaders in America or leaders in Nigeria. Politicians are politicians everywhere. They already know they protect their interests. Politics is a game of interest. And I like the way Harold Laswell puts it. Politics is who gets what, when, and how. Once that is established, then you can be certain that, look, the citizens can go to hell for all they care. We are, I don't want to say it, but unfortunately, the average citizen anywhere, especially in Nigeria, is a commodity.
Okay, let's get your take on this. How do you think the people who we know play a very significant role, at least at the election stage, help to swing whatever decision the elites take to their favor ahead of 2023?
Well, first and foremost, I want to look at, ask a simple question with regards to the first issue you put to my friend here. In Nigeria, what is constitution? Anything that is constitutional is what is beneficial to that individual, particularly the politicians. The issue or the dichotomy between the South and the North is created by them, and they know the solution, they know how to bring it together. And the only way they want that dichotomy to remain is for the people to be sidelined. So, back to the question now. The people absolutely have nothing to do as it is just now. Because all the issue goes back to the constitution of Nigeria. And the various political parties, particularly the two major political parties in Nigeria, they've structured their own constitution in the line of the constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And the constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and that of the two major political parties favor the political elites. Now, the politics in Nigeria is a game of business. These men, in the daytime, you hear them quarreling. At night, they go back to their meeting points and begin to draft what and what, how do we benefit, who do we benefit, who will benefit this, who will benefit that. So at the end of the day, they also come together and agree on who takes the mantle of leadership. And all is about interest. Take for instance now, the crisis in the various two major political parties, the crisis, is all about interest. Who gets what, how, and when. So, and that is why the people now, they are very far from the people. What is restructuring? Restructuring simply means government to be closer to the people. That is restructuring. And now, these political elites, they are aware that look, if we go closer to the people, we may not get what we want. They may stone us just as is happening in Asia. So, the only way to put the people in total blindness is to go far from them. And that's why the people now are seeing it and now say, come, we need the restructuring. All the political conferences, the so-called constitutional conferences that were held in Nigeria, has anyone come up with any result? Even the just concluded one in 2015. The document is under the rug with so much dust. Nobody knows where it is. Okay,
let me proceed there. Idris, quickly just get a point on this semi-controversy on the North-South dichotomy in the build-up to the 2023 election.
Well, I'm an IPA realist, and I only want to speak to issues as it can be applied on ground right now. Let us face it. Nigeria will not change between now and 2023. But power should return to the South. Yes. The North has had their time. There was Umar Musa Yar'Adua and there is Muhammad Buhari. Here in the South, we have also had Goodluck Jonathan and Olusegun Obasanjo. It only makes sense that a Southerner should be the next president. As a matter of fact, I will not support a Northerner, even if he's an angel from the North. We are a multi-ethnic, multi-religious society. And whatever political decisions are taken must take into cognizance the sensitivity of the nation as a whole. We must find a way to hold this nation together. Even if it means having an idiot as president, if it binds this nation and help us progress and help us advance as individuals, we should do it by all means possible. And in the South, we should now microzone it to the Southeast. The Southwest have been president. The South have been president. In both cases, we have struggled with corruption and a lot of other problems. Whether you return another Southerner, another Southwesterner, chances are that we may still struggle with the same realities. Let us continue to evolve. Step-by-step evolution. Let us now microzone it to the East. The problem starts. In Igbo land as of today, who is ready to be president? Who has played the politics of being president? It's not about crying for it. You have to work for it also. Who has earned it? There was a certain Okorocha, out of personal greed and avarice, has lost that chance because when he was leaving, he wanted to make his son-in-law governor, his wife member House of Rep, cousin member State House of Assembly. He wanted to create for himself a fifth dome. They say power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. That's what played out there. And you have seen the chaos in Imo. Umai is like a stranger now. Even in the South, it's considered a minority. It's a minority in the minority. Because from Ebonyi, but it's considered a minority in the East. And in his party, he has not played the necessary politics. I expected by now a prominent politician from the South, all the Southeasterners will put hands together behind one person. And this is both a suggestion and an advice. By now, a prominent Southeast politician should be going to the North, meeting the emirs, talking to who is who in the North, relating with them. Jonathan did it in 2012. He did it. Talk to the Northern elites, engage with them, make them understand that power has to come to the South. But what we have in the East is IPOB running wild and elders who should be cautioning youth to behave themselves, encouraging that kind of mafians. So if you are pushing this kind of agenda, you are going to miss it ultimately. Okay. But power should come to the South. Even if they have angels in the North, no, okay. Power should come to the South.
All right, thank you very much. We'll take a short break and we'll be breaking up the panelists so Neville Obagado can join our conversation today on the program. It's still Politics Today on independent television and radio. Please stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us on your ultimate news and current affairs program, Politics Today on independent television and radio. Neville Obagado is a political scientist from the University of Benin joining us now. Neville, thank you for coming. Yeah, because you did start the conversation with us. Let me get your perspective as quick as possible on the Pandora Papers and what are your expectations based on what has come out, domesticating the issue, and then this whole debate about power shift to the South or remaining in the North. Quickly.
Let me start with the issue of the Pandora Papers. This is not the first time that investigative journalists have come up with documents, links, showing how leaders, powerful leaders of the world, the people that we refer to as billionaires of the world, celebrities, people that control the affairs of this world in various fields of human endeavor, how they have plundered resources, how they have been defrauding the people and hiding documents to show their business transactions. This is not the first time. And this is not also the first time that Pandora papers are being leaked. In 2016, there was a Pandora paper leak that showed that was showing about 11.5 documents that were leaking kings, prime ministers, presidents, celebrities, and what have you, showing how they have defrauded the people and the kind of illicit businesses, offshore businesses, and the rest of them that they were engaging. So if we hear now that there's an increment now by 0.5 million, it shows that as the world is growing in technology, that is how the world is also growing in the area of criminal activities by those that are holding the world in trust for the masses. Otherwise, why should a prime minister, for example, of Qatar, or a king, or leader of Dubai, or the former governor of Nigeria, or a city governor, will be engaging in businesses even when there are provisions of the law that says that you have to declare your asset? They refuse to declare asset. When you refuse to declare your asset, it means you have something to hide. And when you are hiding something, the problem that we are having is not even the declaration. The problem we are having is ability of the state, the capacity of the state to punish these people so that others will learn. That is the problem that we are having. We have been having all kinds of people have been corrupt, people have been arraigned before court. At the end of the day, before you know what's happening, either there's a gentlemanly agreement, either there is a plea bargain, and so on and so forth. Then it will now encourage other people to go into crime. And you see, people that are in position of authority then will now even appoint those who will become judges and who will occupy strategic judicial positions, so that when pronouncements are going to be made about their corruption, they can be left off the hook. So just now, I'm not surprised that things like this are happening, because even the World Bank and IMF in 2018, they came up with an idea of how to curb corruption that were in the highest places in the world. And so what the Pandora papers, WikiLeaks, and other documents are saying, they are just saying that the people should know that the crisis that we are facing in the world, crisis of poverty, crisis we are facing in the world, the crisis of war, of famine, of diseases, and the inability of the world system to cope with the challenges, is not because we cannot tackle this problem, but it is because there are some persons that are holding the world by the jugular, and that is what's responsible for the problem that we are facing. Okay. That's my initial reaction. All
right, thank you very much. Let me get you to bring up the issue of the current crisis rocking the PDP in Edo State, with the suspensions of some prominent members, and then the reactions from the state chapter of the party, and then the National Working Committee of the party. One would expect that as a party in power, efforts should be made towards galvanizing the gains of electoral victory for the benefit of the people. But that hasn't been the case. I mean, 1 year it took the present government to announce commissioners. Just when we thought that, okay, everything was going in that direction, we're hearing all of this. And I'd like to get your perspective as quick as possible.
Well, the Obaseki administration, I like to put a name to any issue. That's the only way you treat the issue. Otherwise, you are just talking. The Obaseki administration, clearly, I don't know if it is deliberate or if it is out of ignorance, have made up their mind that they are not ready for governance. I say this because it took a year to appoint commissioner, and the commissioners you appointed it in contravention of the Constitution. The Constitution said that you must have a minimum of 18 sitting commissioners in Edo State. Why is that? Because there are 18 local governments. Are you not jumping into conclusion because this could be the first phase of the appointment of commissioners? So the Constitution says that you must make all your appointment at the first instance? Well, the Constitution is silent on that. Okay. But since when did the appointment of commissioners after a year? One would have said after a year you have picked 18. Since when the appointment of commissioners become a university admission process where you have batch A, batch B, and batch C? Commissioners 18. Don't forget the university system is admitting thousands of students, and they're able to break it into structures. But to appoint 18 persons from Edo State becomes a problem. Now that we have 11 commissioners sitting in place of 18, what will happen to the local government who have been shortchanged? what will happen to those? Don't forget that there are local governments who don't have member state house assembly as at today. There is no local government administration in Edo State as at today. There are no chairmen, there are no vice chairmen. There are no legislative arms in the local government. There is no democracy in the local government in Edo State as at today. And you have picked 11 again instead of picking the constitutional 18. But let's leave that. Let's talk about PDP. Well, PDP is like Esau in the Bible. They sold their birthright for a pot of porridge. And today, they are reaping the benefit of that sale. I have no sympathy for them. Because if they had sympathy for themselves, in 2020, they would have picked somebody from the PDP who has been loyal to the party over time. Yet they imported Governor Godwin Obaseki from the APC and proverbially sold their birthright like he saw in the Bible. I don't want to mention money and how money exchange hands,
because
but I'm quoting the Bible.
You can't prove that.
Nobody can say I cannot prove the Bible because it's written in the Bible.
You can't prove it here.
I cannot prove that here.
Yes.
But they sold their birthright, and today they are reaping. A wise man once said, if you sow to the wind, you will reap the wild wind. And they are reaping the wild wind of what they
Let me pursue that. Let's get your take on what's developing with the PDP crisis.
First and foremost, PDP will not change. And that is applicable to all the political parties in Nigeria. And that is what we have been saying since this program started, because the political elites, they've decided on the way they will to tow Nigeria to their own direction. And that is what is happening today in Edo State. You cannot imagine a governor who, quote and unquote, had the sympathy of the people of Edo State. The people came out en masse for the very first time in elections in this state and voted him into power. Not because he's a saint, that is the truth. Not because he will make a difference. I told people even before the election, I said this man is not going to make a difference. And today, we are seeing it, that it is like even the power that the people willingly donated to him, he is now using, testing that power on the people negatively. Punishing the people. The people of Edo State are suffering. So they will give you, if you imagine on Saturday when it rained, there was no road in Benin City. No road, absolutely. Every part of Benin City, no road. Nothing is going on. Everybody is quiet. And now we are hearing there is crisis in the party. Even to appoint commissioners. For goodness sake, the constitution is this constitution that we are all even crying that there should be an amendment, or the constitution should be repealed in totality. The same constitution spell it out that each local government must be represented in the executive council. And now Edo State has 18 local government, and they are coming up with only 11.
On the first instance.
What is
on the first instance?
Their appointment should be in badges. For more than a year, you are still coming with badges. It shows that he does not even know what to do. I'm sorry, with all due respect to him, if there is any respect to give it to him.
There's respect to be given to him because he's the governor, is an office. If you were there today, I'm sure that you you also have the privileges and the rights and the everything that is ancillary to that office. Let me get you in Neville or Bagendo. Yeah.
We have two issues here. We are talking about the governor and we are talking about the PDP. Ordinarily, this discussion is not supposed to have been brought up. But it was brought up because political parties in Nigeria that were supposed to be agents of change, that were supposed to be helping to aggregate and articulate the interests of the people so that their welfare can be enhanced and can be guaranteed as enshrined in the constitution. That is not what the political parties are doing. Why are they not doing it? The reason is because political parties, according to the constitution of PDP, constitution of APC, two major political parties, members of the party are supposed to be donating, they are supposed to be making contributions on a monthly basis for the growth and development of the party. But they are not doing that. And so powerful men, powerful people in positions of authority, in the name of their political parties, they hold sway in their parties. And when they are in government, they also hold sway. So when we are talking about PDP having crisis, all political parties in Nigeria will normally have crisis. because the processes that are supposed to be followed to establish a political party, which is supposed to be a collection of men and women of the same interest, whose main idea is to capture and run the machinery of government, that is missing. So if it is missing, people that are in these political parties will just be struggling for what they are going to get for themselves. In that case, the party structure, the party leadership, the party hierarchy will be disregarded. Now, PDP as a political party has ruled this country, and still ruling some states right now. Some members are the National Assembly and so on. But they refuse to learn from the history of political parties in Nigeria and the strength thereof. They're supposed to go and learn about how UPN organized this party and how the party became a party of authority and hierarchy. Even though there were governors, the governors were taking order and power and authority from the hierarchy of the party. I remember in the Second Republic, Governor Adekule Ajashi of Ondo State, then old Ondo State, fired the commissioner for Agric without taking instruction from the party. The party hierarchy under Obafemi Awolowo asked him to return the commissioner because he did not clarify from him. He did not report the commissioner and the offense that he may have committed. So let's come back to issue of PDP now. Even in the Second Republic, we had MPN, and the strong man of the party was Chief Medford Akiloye, who was the chairman of the party. Today, they watered down the hierarchy and the strength of a political party by saying that a governor that the party threw off for an election, a House of Assembly member or House of National Assembly member that you are thrown up by the party to contest the position and they now won, is now the leader of the party. That you are the leader of the party does not mean that the party structure and hierarchy should be disregarded. You are supposed to work as a president, for example. President Buhari, for example, is supposed to work with the leadership of APC. Not the way Amana came that they brought a speech from home and said National Working Committee dissolved. And somebody wrote that speech for him. I'm sure he did not even read it. He made that mistake before he realized what he did. Now, that is what is happening.
You said he made a mistake, but he stands.
Yes, he stands because
the word of the president is law.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now it's the same thing that is happening. I'm very, very careful about what I'm going to say here because I'm from Edo State. I have respect for people that are in position of authority. The governor is the governor of the state. I'm not a member of any political party, but I want to look at this matter critically from two angles. Number one, Governor Obaseki was in APC. APC was not comfortable for him. Why? Because he was the leader of the party and he did not want to work in conjunction with the leadership of the party. I felt that was what affected him there. He now came to PDP. Now he came to PDP, PDP accepted him. Because from what we are hearing, what we are reading about hijack, they now have old PDP and new PDP. It shows that the structure that the governor entered PDP with, he want to now use that structure to outright and to legislate in quote out of existence the party structure that was already there. This lay foundation for crisis that we are facing in Edo State. So when we are hearing that suspending this, they are suspending that. If you look at APC constitution, before you suspend any, beg your pardon, PDP constitution, before you suspend any person, you have to give the person fair hearing. You have to summon the person, bring the allegation of the person, to the notice of the person, and allow the person to come to a disciplinary committee to defend himself or herself before you proceed to suspension. That they are just waking up and they are just appearing on television announcing that this one is suspended, that one is suspended. They are making mockery of democracy, eternal democracy, and they are making mockery of the electoral process. And it is a shame that even in this very era, when people that are educated are supposed to be in position of authority in political party to be giving direction, you will see these same people that are supposed to be educated, they come outside and they make statements that undermine the electoral process. And God forbid, if Nigeria were to be places like Guinea or like Burkina Faso,
okay,
or like
let me pause you there. Because we are pressed for time, our studio line will be open now, so you can also call and be part of the discussion. It's Politics Today on independent television and radio. We already have a caller online. We're going to take that caller now and get him to contribute to the discussion. Hello, caller. Good morning. Your name and where you're calling from? Yeah. Good morning. What's your name? Yeah, you need to turn down the audio level on your TV set to remove the echo. I can barely hear you.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, then you need to speak up a little bit, yeah.
I want to contribute to this very discussion about concerning the crisis rocking the PDP as a party. It's very unfortunate that the elite in PDP, as at the time of Asake came, can I say they were myopic enough to see that they were going to have problems. Immediately they were going to absorb Godwin Obaseki. Because when you look at the way Obaseki came to PDP, first of all, he was having issue with some of the elites in APC that are from Edo South. Now, the former governor Adams Oshiomhole tried on many occasions to resolve this matter, but Obaseki refused. Now, he disrupted APC and he came to PDP. Now, the issue we are having in Nigeria is just that because of money, a lot of people, they just turn their blind eyes or turn their eyes to issues. You already know that this man was having issue in APC. Now he was cross-carpeting to your party. Why didn't he go to other parties? First of all, we heard Adegboni was suspended. Other parties were suspended. Then all things that labor to build the party like those states is also suspended. How can it be? So it's very unfortunate. Again, look at Governor Obaseki. Immediately he came on board. The first thing he wanted to do was to give Oshiomhole issue because of Central Hospital. Today, sir.
All right, I want us to stay on course so we can maximize time and have more contributions. So if we could just pause there, I really would appreciate it. Thank you very much. Sonny Edosa is live on the program. Sonny Edosa, thank you for joining us on Politics Today. Good morning.
Thank you, Pastor Duke.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
I have told you before that the only way to resolve crisis within any political party is to adopt a model that you have in South Africa and that you also have in China. If we don't do that, crisis will continue. It is not for a man to have labored. After several years, one man will come in the name of brother governor. He will become the leader of the party. And when he serves 4 years or 8 years, he will lead the party for those who have been labored to continue to suffer. I have said before, let the decision making come from the exco of any political party. If that is done, then you can become a scapegoat or a sacrifice. Damo Becky came into office. They went to general election. They discovered that the ANC was losing. Instead of to lose the party of how many years, they had to sacrifice Damo Becky. So I want to encourage the political party. Like someone like a Chief OCLB, you cannot take it from him. He has been a formidable man. Whether against Oshiomhole or against any party. So he has paid his due. You cannot take it from him. Okay. I will encourage you not to fight anybody. When the dance is sweet, it's going to lead the dance floor. All right. So I will encourage you to do the right thing. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sonny Edosa. Hello, Kola. Good morning. You're live on Politics Today. Good morning. What's your name?
Yeah, good morning.
Yes,
my name is John from Cherry.
Yes, go ahead.
You know, I'm surprised at the dictatorial and despotic tendencies of this governor. But I wouldn't blame him.
I'm wondering why you're saying this about the governor, because he wasn't the one who suspended these people. Yes. They were party members from the world and of those suspended. I don't understand why you're bringing the governor in. I don't understand that. Yes, go ahead.
When the head is sick, it will trickle down to all the body. It took our president 6 months to also do his own cabinet. Obaseki copied it and increased it to 10 months. And it's even bringing up commissioner now. He brought out of 18, brought 11. That's dictatorial. That's not democracy. That's despotic, authoritarian. This guy was elected on a democratic principle. People came out en masse for you. And now you are fighting everybody everywhere. Revoking CFOs. Which hunting those who did stand for you. So it should try and have a rethink. This is not a military rule. Even Bemudia, who was a military administrator, did not behave like this. And as for PDP, you cannot accept somebody in one day and collect allegedly 9.6 billion naira. So I cannot verify that. And expect them to also respect you. You saw your clothes with oil, so you have to behave.
Okay. John, I'm going to pause you there and get the other callers, give the other callers the opportunity to be part of the conversation. Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name? Tell us your name and where you're calling from. Make your contributions as quick as possible. Yes, good morning. What's your name? Good morning.
My name is Advocate. I'm calling from Nigeria.
Okay, Advocate, go ahead.
Yes. You see, there seems to be confusion everywhere in Nigeria. And government seems to be meaningless. Look at PDP, look at APC, and these are the two party people believe that it's either this one or the other one. To me, this is where you see people who be looking for alternative because the democracy is not interesting. It's not interesting at all.
Okay.
If they made governors or president leader of the party, that was where they missed the track entirely. So, to me, everybody is annoyed. No governor seems to be meaningful either at any level, local, state, and federal.
Okay. Advocate, let me pause you there. We'll just take one more call. Hello. Good morning. Yeah, what's your name?
Hello, good morning. This is Chadwick. I'm calling from Downsing.
Yes, go ahead quickly.
Okay. I think it's just to summarize this whole thing. I think our democracy. I think people need to be there because of governance. What we are seeing right now is clash of individualism and self-interest. So I think that's just summarizing. So thank you very much.
Now, guys, let's quickly cap this up. What is the way out of this semi-crisis? End is not in sight. Let's begin with you, Idris, quickly.
The governor should realize that 100 years is not forever.
Is this the governor's
Yes.
issue or the PDP
It is
issue?
the governor's issues. You know why I'll tell you the governor's issue? It was in APC. Everything he touched in APC turned to dust. APC, he went to APC as a united party. He left APC in tatters.
But APC rejected him. How do you throw a sitting governor away on the premise of politics?
When
you threw a sitting governor, so what were you expecting?
A sitting governor, if we have a sitting governor that is not living up to expectation, you throw the sitting governor away.
Okay.
And that is after he has successfully, through the word of Adams Shomole, threw him away as a sitting national chairman of the party, thereby losing all the benefits that accrue to Edo State. We had 2 ministers, we had appointment in NDCC, we had a lot coming to Edo State through that national party we were holding, national office in the party we were holding. Now we have lost that, we have not recovered from it.
You still have 2 ministers.
Yeah, we still have, but we have lost the NDCC, we have lost that and all the others.
State for budget.
We must also remind the governor that revoking C of O, pushing COVID-19 as a state agenda. I just came from Lagos day before yesterday. Lagos, that was the epicenter of COVID in Nigeria. Nobody even thinks about COVID again in Lagos. Life has returned back to normal. But in Edo State, there are gags and hounds, gagging and hounding Edo people for COVID. Finally, our people, the PDP must tell themselves the truth. It is time to sit up. If you nurse cancer, if you treat cancer as a mere injury, it will kill the person carrying the cancer. They have to take decisive action against the party, against the governor now.
All right, Doctor.
The earlier the better.
Barrister Obagbolo. Yeah, final word. What's the way out?
PDP at the moment should learn. 2015, what happened in 2015 appeared that they have not learned. So now it's a moment to learn. And for the governor of Edo State, he should know that the people of Edo State only borrowed the power he's using today to him. That someday, sometime, he will give back that power to the people, and the people again will lend that power to another person.
Navil,
so all the parties in Nigeria should learn and adhere to democratic tenets.
Navil, final word.
My final words: number one, leaders of the world should stop plundering the resources of the people and use them to establish businesses that make the people to be impoverished. That is on the Pandora paper. On PDP crisis and in Edo State, my appeal to the governor and those that are around him that he listens to, the ability of a man to lead is not by the crisis that the person was able to cause. is by the successes that the person was able to make in the office. And so reconciliation is part of party politics. The governor refused to and his men refused to reconcile with APC leaders. That brought them to PDP. Now that there are crises in PDP that are also traceable to them, they should try and reconcile with PDP and stop this suspension that they are the game of suspension.
That's just a beautiful way to call it a day on today's edition, Politics Today for this week on independent television and radio. I want to say big thanks to all our panelists. Dr. Luga Sado, thank you very much for your time with us on the show. Idris Zakari, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate you. Neville Obagado, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Next week, Saturday, will be another day. We'll be together again on the program, Politics Today. Till then, stay blessed and do have a beautiful weekend. Bye for now.